Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Mahabharata character series. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone to our Mahabharata character series. So today we'll be discussing another very wonderful and very central character of Mahabharata, Yudhishthir Maharaj. Yudhishthira, as the name describes, Yudhi Sthir. Yudhi Sthir means one who is steady in war. Sthir means steady. Yudhi means in the war. So Yudhishthira is one such a wonderful personality. He is not only steady in fighting, but he is steady in his virtuous qualities, in his virtues, in his all wonderful qualities. Although he was provoked in the war, but he did not lose his virtue. He was steady in his virtue. So basically, Yudhishthir represents a personality who is very steady in pursuing his virtuous qualities, even in the midst of war, even in the midst of various disturbing and disastrous situations in life. So, overall, Yudhishthir represents a life of virtue and devotion. Who was Yudhishthir Maharaj? As we have heard earlier also, that Kunti Maharani, she begot Yudhishthir from Dharmaraj or Yamraj. So, Yamraj or Dharma, they are same personalities. And Kunti Maharani, when she came to know that Pandu, he could not beget child because he was cursed by the sage Kindam Rishi. Pandu had shot Kindam Rishi when he was in the form of a deer, and he was uniting with his wife in the form of a deer. So this Kindam Rishi, he cursed Pandu that just like you have killed me when I am uniting with my wife, you will also be killed. You will also die when you unite with your wife. As a result, Pandu could not beget children, and then Kunti, she told Pandu, because Pandu Maharaj was very eager to have a son who can rule the kingdom with religious qualities, with virtue, with devotion. And it is the responsibility of a king to give a heir to the kingdom. So Kunti, she followed this principle of niyoga. Niyoga means to beget child from some superior personality when husband is not able to beget child. Of course, it is not uh, recommended to follow this in Kali Yuga because there are chances that it will be exploited. Therefore, it is described in the scriptures that few things are prohibited in Kali Yuga. The cow sacrifice, horse sacrifice, begetting children from husband's brother, all these things are prohibited. Even in those times, in the previous times, this practice of niyoga, it was restricted only for 3 times. That's why Kunti Maharani, when she called thrice these various devatas, she called first Dharmaraj, and she begot Yudhishthir Maharaj. Then she called Vayudev, she begot Bhima, and then she called Indra and begot Arjuna. And then, even though Pandu he requested that, oh Kunti, please beget more children, Kunti she didn't agree. And therefore, because of the same principle, Vyasdev did not beget more than thrice. He begot first Dhritarashtra in the womb of Ambika, then in the womb of Ambalika he begot Pandu, but then and in thrice, third time, he begot Vidura from a womb of a maid servant. So Satyavati, when she requested Vidura, Vyasdev, he disagreed. So Yudhishthir Maharaj, he is a son of Dharma, and this Dharmaraj, Yamraj, is one of the very, very powerful devatas. In fact, one of the directors of the universe. They are called Lokpal. So there are four directors of this universe, and Yamraj is one of them. Other three are Varuna, Indra, and Kuvera. So Dharmaraj, he was so very virtuous, powerful, and spiritually inclined. We have heard in the previous discussions that Yamaraj or Dharmaraj is one of the great Mahajans. Mahajans means the authorities in spiritual life. So Yudhishthir Maharaj, he was emblem of virtue. He had extraordinary virtue. He had great respect, wonderful behavior, gentle, and he was completely inclined towards spirituality. So our current conditionings in our lives, they are the indicator of our past lives. And because we are seeing this Yudhishthir Maharaj, he's such a wonderful, glorious, virtuous soul. So for sure, his past life was very glorious. He is the son of Yamraj. So therefore, we have to understand our current desires. They are the basis of our future life, and our whatever we have done in the past life, they form the basis of our present life. So we have to be very, very careful of our thoughts. What thoughts we have in our mind. Generally, people think, oh, it doesn't matter whatever I think, unless I am doing it right. Whatever is going in my mind, what is the problem? Because I'm not going to harm anybody with my thoughts, but actually, our thoughts get transformed into our actions in due course of time. Therefore, it is very important that we have to be careful what thoughts we are cultivating in this current times. There are four things which decide our thoughts, which influence our thoughts. The type of books which we read, the type of movies which we see, the type of music which we hear, and the types of people we associate with. These four things, they form a script in our minds, and based on those scripts we work in our life. So therefore we have to be really careful when we are dealing with people, when we are watching movies, when we are hearing songs. What type of songs are we hearing? What type of music are we seeing, hearing? What type of videos are we seeing? Because many times people think, oh, it will not affect me, I'm doing things good, I'm having right moral values, I'm living my life properly. But we have to understand the superficial morality will not last if our foundation is weak. Many times we don't even realize how our foundation is attacked by the termites. These termites are in the form of negative thoughts, the base thoughts, the wrong type of thought process which we have. They slowly they eat away our spiritual foundation, our moral values, and one day the whole building may collapse. People, they fall down, they fall down from their moral principles with slight provocation, and they wonder why this happened. I was never doing like this before. I never did like this. Why this happened now? Because we have cultivated those thoughts. And therefore, Yudhishthira Maharaj, because he was such a great personality, we know for sure that he is the son of Dharma himself. That's why he has such wonderful, glorious qualities. And Yudhishthir, he was dedicated to learning scriptures. He was a saintly king. He was having such wonderful desire and eagerness to read scriptures when Pandu and all the other and his wives Madri and Kunti, they were there in the forest, and Kunti begot all these wonderful children. Yudhishthir, he was very fond of staying with the sages, and he would relish hearing the scriptures, and he was very very gentle. But in due course of time, Pandu passed away, and then they had to return to Hastinapur. There, Hastinapur, in the Hastinapur, Kunti was alone. Although Bhishma was there, the elders were there, but still Kunti, she knew that the things are becoming difficult here. She understood that Kauravas, headed by Duryodhan, they were not happy. So, although Kunti, she was the guardian, but Yudhishthir, because he was the eldest person, male person, he took all the responsibility of making sure that Pandavas are accepted by the citizens. He took the responsibility as the leader of the family to protect the citizens, protect the family members, protect his brothers, and set a very, very high standard for them to follow. In a family life, mother and father, the parents, they are natural leaders, and it is their responsibility to protect the children, to teach them right type of moral values, to protect them physically, but more importantly, protect them mentally, emotionally, spiritually. That's why scriptures they describe that the prime responsibility of the parents is to give their children right moral values and right spiritual values. And parents, when they do something, children, they learn more when they see their parents doing something. Rather than instructing children, children they learn more when they see their parents doing something. How parents behave in front of their children, what are the values of the parents, what are the convictions, all these things affect the children's lives. So therefore, Yudhishthir Maharaj, he had such high moral value, and he was making sure that all his brothers, they were also following the principles of morality, virtue, devotion. And Yudhishthir, because himself he was very gentle, very worshipful, he became very dear to everyone. Everyone in the kingdom, they liked Yudhishthir Maharaj. And in fact, he bore no malice towards anyone. He was known as Ajata Shatru. Ajata Shatru means the person who has no enemy. And although he was Ajat Shatru, Duryodhan, he was having no friendship towards Yudhishthir Maharaj. He was hating him. So this is very interesting. That Yudhishthir, he knew that Duryodhan does not like me because Yudhishthir was elder. And Duryodhan became so very fearful that now I will not get the kingdom. Therefore, he was always envying Yudhishthir. But Yudhishthir, he never had any ill feelings toward Duryodhan. In this world where the principle is tit for tat, if you have done wrong to me, I will also do the same thing. Yudhishthir is showing by his example how to stick to the principle of virtue. Just because Duryodhan was doing wrong, Yudhishthira, he didn't think, oh, I'll also do the same thing. No. But it is very important to understand that when we are dealing with the vicious people, evil people, we have to be really careful. Just because we are following the principles of devotion, we are following the religious life, that does not mean we allow others to exploit us. Srila Prabhupada, he would tell a story. One time, Narad Muni, he went and he was preaching to a snake. Narad Muni, he would preach to all different types of living entities. One time he was preaching to a snake. And he told, why are you biting people unnecessarily? Please don't bite. And the snake, he also agreed. He accepted Narad Muni as his teacher and he stopped biting people. So Narad Muni, after few days, he went back to see his disciple and he saw that the snake was in blood. And he asked, what happened? So the snake said, oh Narad Muni, you only said that please don't bite. So the people, they came to know that this snake does not bite. So they are throwing stones at me. They are stamping on me. Narad Muni told, I told you not to bite, but I didn't tell you not to hiss. So therefore, when we are living in this world where people are not always good, we have to do the needful. But we don't have to give up our basic dharmic quality, basic virtue. At the same time, don't allow others to exploit us. So Yudhishthir Maharaj, because he was elder than Duryodhan was having a feeling of insecurity. Actually, Gandhari, she begot uh, Duryodhan and other sons even before Kunti. But the pregnancy went on for a long time. And Kunti Maharani, she delivered Yudhishthir Maharaj before Gandhari delivered. So Gandhari, she became so very frustrated. She hit on her womb with her fist. And as a result of that, a lump of flesh came out. And then Vyasdev intervened, and Vyasdev, he took that lump of flesh and he divided into 100 parts and kept them in small, small vessels called drona. And from those small, small vessels, Kauravas, the 100 Kauravas were born. It is very interesting, right? It is like today's test tube baby. Somebody may wonder that how could Vyasdev, a sage sitting in the forest, how could he know all these signs? Actually, Vyasdev is not an ordinary personality. We have heard it earlier also that Vyasdev is a incarnation of God. He is incarnation of Krishna. He is literary incarnation. And therefore, because he has written all these scriptures, the scriptures, they are never wrong. They are the words of God. And therefore, you know, in current times where people have no faith in the scriptures because they think, oh, scriptures, all these are mythology. Very interesting word is given, mythology. Mythology means it has not happened. It is just some story which is written by some people of the past. But we have to understand the scriptures, they are the words of Krishna, written by Vyasdev, who is himself the incarnation of Krishna. And therefore, when the invaders in the past, in the history, when the invaders, they wanted to rule India, they sent some of the Indologists and they misinterpreted the scriptures. Because some of the verses, they did not make sense to them and they interpreted them in a wrong way. I'll tell you one of the verse which comes in Mahabharata. Very special, very intriguing verse. This verse says, Uchchishtam Shiva Nirmalyam Vamanam Ritakarpatam Kakavishta Samayuktam Panchaputani Bharata. So it is described that five things are pure. The remnants of an animal, they are pure. The leftovers of Lord Shiva are pure. Vomit is pure. Cloth covering a dead body is pure. And the place which is covered with crow stool is pure. So if somebody hears this, will think, I think there's some problem somewhere. You read some wrong thing. How is this possible? So this Indologists, they found these verses from scriptures and they told, just see, look at what are you reading. Does this make sense? It is all bogus. It is all nonsense. Reject all these scriptures. What it means actually? Uchishtam, what is the remnant of an animal which is pure? Generally, in the Vedic times, the calf is brought, and when the in front of the mother, and when the calf starts drinking the milk, then cow starts giving the milk. So, cow, the milk is a remnant of an animal. It is supremely pure. And then Ganga, it is leftover of Lord Shiva. It is supremely pure, so pure that people they go and take bath in Ganga to become purified. Vomit, how is vomit pure? Honeybees take the nectar, essence of the flowers, and then again put in that honeycomb. It is like a vomit of a animal. The place which is, the covering of a dead body. How is it pure? Actually, silk is covering on a dead body because silkworm weaves a cocoon around itself and then dies. So it is like a cloth which is covering a dead body. And this the place which is infested with crow stool, it is a banyan tree or a peepal tree. So when all these things are described in the scriptures, if we don't understand through proper teachers in parampara, we'll get confused. And that's why this technology of creating children from some flesh outside the womb, it is unimaginable. But because Vyasdev is Krishna himself, he knew the art. So Yudhishthira was born, he was older than Duryodhan. And then as far as kingdom was concerned, there were disputes. Disputes started. And Dhritarashtra, although he was older than Pandu, but because he was blind, so Pandu, he was made the king. And then in due course of time, Pandu, he developed a desire to renounce the world and go to the forest. And then Dhritarashtra, he became the caretaker king. So it is very important to understand now that in the Vedic times, the primogeniture, the way the kingly uh, things, policies are, the kings, when somebody becomes the king, then the kingdom passes down to his son and not to the brother's son. So because Pandu became the king, so naturally, the sons of Pandu, they were the right, uh, heir to the kingdom. But because Pandu, he could not beget children because of the curse. So Dhritarashtra, he started thinking, oh, now my sons will become the king. I have become the king, and now my sons will become the king. But then when he came to know about the birth of Yudhishthir Maharaj and Bhima and Arjun, Dhritarashtra, he became very, very disturbed because he himself wanted to rule the kingdom and he wanted his sons to become the king. So from Pandu, the kingdom should have gone to Yudhishthir only. But Duryodhan, he was expecting. He wanted to become the king because for many years, for around 13, 14 years, Pandavas, they didn't return to the kingdom. And Duryodhan, he was accepted because citizens, although they did not like the way he was, Duryodhan was very selfish, envious, not so respectful, arrogant. But citizens, they accepted him as the king because there was no option. And Duryodhan also started identifying himself as the king. But when Yudhishthir and all the Pandavas they came back, everybody saw such wonderful qualities in Pandava, especially Yudhishthir Maharaj. He was, although he was, one thing was he was older than Duryodhan. On top of that, he was virtuous. He was gentle. He was loving. He was caring to all the citizens. Citizens loved Yudhishthir Maharaj for his virtuous qualities. And Duryodhan, he felt so very threatened because of Yudhishthir and because of Bhima. Because Bhima was stronger than Duryodhan and Yudhishthir was elder than Duryodhan. So Duryodhan, he started feeling lots of insecurity. And he thought, I will conspire something and I'll get the kingdom. And Dhritarashtra, because he also wanted to get the kingdom for his sons. So when Duryodhan, he made a plan to send Pandavas to Varnavarta, where he planned to burn them. Dhritarashtra agreed. Yudhishthir, he understood that something fishy is going on, and he was very careful. And he was very alert to find out all the ill means of Duryodhan. So Duryodhan, he was so very envious, and envious people, envy does not require any provocation. Even just by seeing the person, the envious person will gets all those feelings of envy. So Mahabharata describes again and again through various characters how these base qualities work. How the qualities of envy, lust, greed, through various characters, Mahabharata shows again and again how we should see these qualities, how we should deal with people who have these qualities, all wrong qualities. It is said that blessed are those who learn, who have learned to admire, not envy, who have learned to follow, not imitate, who have learned to praise, not flatter. It is so very difficult to praise a person who has better qualities than you. Therefore, Bhagavatam describes the secret to live a happy and a peaceful life. Gunadikam mudam lipsed anukroshat gunadhamat maitrim samanam anvicha natapairabhibhuyate. It is described by Narad Muni in Bhagavatam. When you see somebody greater than you, having more wonderful qualities, more capabilities, how you should deal with them? You should become happy. Why we should become happy? Because on material platform to become happy is not possible. We have to rise ourselves to a spiritual platform and see that all these qualities which are manifesting in this person, they are given by Krishna. They are qualities of Krishna, and Krishna has sanctioned these qualities. So why should I become envious? I should become happy. Anukroshat gunadhamat. And when you see somebody having lesser qualities, somebody who is inferior than you, then you should show mercy to that person. Maitrim samanam anvicha. When you see somebody equal to you should make friends with him. Na tapairabhibhuyate. In this way, one will not get disturbed by the miseries of the world. The misery of becoming envious, it disturbs the mind so much. So Bhagavatam describes how to live a peaceful life. When we learn to appreciate others for their qualities, we don't lose anything. When we appreciate others for their good qualities, we don't lose anything. People generally they like to talk about all the bad qualities. Oh, you know about this person? You don't know? I'll tell you. And then the story will start. You know, and it is like a nectar many times. Oh, two people are talking and slandering other third person, and after 1 hour they'll say, "Arey, just leave it. What we have to do with that, all this?" Then why you spend 1 hour doing that? You know? So therefore, it is very very important for a spiritual practitioner, for a devotee, to develop these qualities of praising others for their good qualities. But Duryodhan, he was so very envious. He poisoned Bhima. But somehow, by the mercy of Krishna, Bhima was saved and he came back with even more power because he went to Varun Loka, lower planets, and the Nagas there, they gave him a elixir by which his strength increased. And he came back and he told whatever happened. Yudhishthir, he told them, please don't talk about this to anybody. Don't tell this to anyone. Yudhishthir, he was far-sighted. He knew what is going to happen. He said that our position is already insecure because now Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan, they are controlling the army and the government. So if we tell this openly, then there will be open conflict. And then Kauravas, they may become more shameless. They may do something openly. So therefore, he said, better not to tell this to anyone. This is very interesting. Many times, when some wrong things happen, we just react. Yudhishthir is telling by his example, we should learn to respond, not react. To react means that is typically immediate thing. Based on the emotions, based on the feelings, in the moment we react. But respond means we just usually think about the whole thing, give it a thought, we delay the response, we delay the reaction, and then based on the reason, based on, of course, based on the emotions also, then after some thought process, we express ourselves. The difference between the response and the reaction is many times we have to take deep breath, take a pause, a brief moment of silence, a thoughtful presence that is required to move from a reaction to response. And every person has a different way of dealing with the situation, but we have to learn to respond, not to react. Just like Yudhishthira Maharaj is telling that please don't react, don't tell this to anybody. Yudhishthira knew that Pandu was not there, and Bhishma and Drona and Kripa, although they were their well-wishers, but still, because they were, uh, you know, working for the government, they could not go against them openly. Dhritarashtra, when he saw that the people are getting attracted to Yudhishthir Maharaj more by his wonderful qualities, and they wanted that Yudhishthir should become king. And then Yudhishthir Maharaj, he was sent with Pandavas to Varnavart, as we said. There, Yudhishthir, he understood, but he waited for the time. And then after some time, they themselves set fire to that whole palace and they left. They escaped in the forest. In the forest, they met Vyasdev. And Vyasdev, he said, oh, my dear sons, I'm so very sad seeing your condition. But don't worry, I'll come regularly and I'll guide you. And that's how Vyasdev would come and would regularly guide all the Pandavas how to live, what to do now. And Yudhishthir and all the Pandavas, they were so very grateful for whatever Vyasdev was doing for them. Otherwise, what was the need for Vyasadeva to come all the way to uh, help Pandavas? It is said ingratitude is the greatest sin in this world. To develop the feeling and emotion of gratitude is very, very important for a devotee, for a spiritualist. You have to be grateful to the Lord for so many things. First of all, giving a human form, which is so very rare. Even after getting a human form, much more than that is getting a chance to practice spiritual life. Much more rarer than that is actually understanding who is God. It is very rare. Very few people in the world they have the understanding who is God. Even after knowing, oh, God is supreme, okay, who is that? What is the name of that person, that God? Krishna. It is still more rare. And then the chance to practice devotional service, it is still more rare. All this is given to us by mercy of Supreme Lord, by mercy of Krishna and by mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who came just 500 years back. So it is described in the scriptures only a sinful person can be ungrateful. Otherwise, nobody can become ungrateful. Seeing so many things we have been given. Krishna is giving all the necessities of life. On top of that, he is giving us the chance to practice spiritual life, giving us a chance to meet with devotees, understand the purpose of life. Who am I? Why am I suffering in this world? Is there a way out? This is all, this should all make us so very grateful. And Yudhishthira Maharaj was very, very grateful. And when Yudhishthira and all the Pandavas, they escaped this Varna Varta. They were living in the house of a Brahmana. We heard when we were discussing about Kunti Maharani, that how in that place Bhima killed a demon Bakasur. And then on the request of the Brahmanas, Yudhishthira and all the Pandavas, they went to attend the Swayamvar ceremony of Draupadi. And in that Swayamvar ceremony, when none of the kings could hit the target, ultimately Arjuna comes, and Arjuna he very easily he wins Draupadi's hands. And when Draupadi is won by Brahmanas, so because Pandavas they were in the disguise of a Brahmana dress they were wearing. So all the other kings they became angry and they were about to attack Drupada. Yudhishthira Maharaj he told Bhima and Arjun, "Oh Arjun, oh Bhima, now Drupada is our father-in-law. We have to help him." So Bhima and Arjuna they fought and defeated all these kings. And then Pandavas they brought Draupadi. And when they reached their place, Yudhishthira Maharaj he told that, "Oh mother, just see what we have brought." Kunti, without even looking at what was the gift, she told, "Oh, whatever you have brought, just divide amongst yourself." So Pandavas were shocked how to share a wife. Yudhishthir said, "Mother, our mother cannot tell anything wrong. She is the emblem of virtue. Whatever she has said should come true. And moreover," he says, very interesting thing. He says, "My mind has never contemplated on anything sinful." And he says that just because this thought has entered my mind, so for sure it cannot be adharmic. That was the caliber of Yudhishthir Maharaj. Can any of us even claim like that? None of the sinful thoughts can enter my mind. Yudhishthir was having that caliber. Many times it is opposite for us. So we have to constantly check our intentions, what our thoughts are, because we are not like Yudhishthir Maharaj who can say, oh, whatever I am thinking is perfect. I can never think anything wrong. Can we come to the stage where Yudhishthir Maharaj is? Of course, Yudhishthir is such an exalted personality. But it is described in Bhagavatam. What is the way out? How can we come close to this ideal standard? Brahmaji, he is telling his condition. He's telling Narada. He's saying, oh Narad, because Narada is the son of Brahma. So Brahmaji tells Narad Muni, oh Narad Muni, my mind never goes towards wrong thoughts. My words, they never prove false. My uh, senses, they never go towards sense gratification. Why? Because I am so very fixed in serving the Supreme Lord. Very beautiful verse says, न भारती में अंग मृषोपलक्ष्यते न वै क्वचिन्मे मनसो मृषागति न मे ऋषिका निपतन्त्य सत्पथे यन्मय हृदोत्कण्ठ्यवता धृतो हरि. So very beautifully Brahmaji is telling that my words, they never prove to be wrong. My mind never goes towards sinful things. Why? Because I am so very fixed in serving Krishna. So this is how we have to align our thought process. Be in the line with the scriptures, always taking shelter of the saintly people, taking guidance from them. That's how we will get purified of our contaminations. So Yudhishthir, when he said, then Vyasdev also came and he also told the history of Draupadi. We had discussed this in when we were discussing about Draupadi. So then Yudhishthir was the first to marry Draupadi, and then all the five Pandavas, they also married Draupadi every day, one day. First Yudhishthir and then Bhima, then Arjuna, then Nakul and Sahadev. After Draupadi got married to all the five Pandavas, one day Narad Muni came. And Narad Muni, he told a very, very interesting story. First of all, he congratulated all of them to have such a wonderful wife as Draupadi. But he told a wonderful story. He said there were two demons, Sund and Upsunda. They were brothers, and they were such closely related. They were such best friends. They both did tapasya, and they got benediction from Brahma. And they said, we don't want to be killed by anybody else apart from each other. And because they were thinking, oh, we are so close friends, we are such intimate brothers that we can never kill each other. We cannot even think of that. So Sunda and Upsunda, they asked for so many powers, and then they said nobody should be able to kill us. Only we should kill each other. Brahmaji said, Tathastu, so be it. And then they started creating havoc. All the devatas, they went and pleaded with Brahmaji. Brahmaji, please do something. You have given this benediction and we are not able to do anything. Please do something. Brahma, he meditated and he created a very beautiful, exquisitely beautiful Apsara, Tilottama. And this Tilottama, she went to the place where Sunda and Upasunda were there. And as soon as both of them they saw this beautiful Apsara, both of them said, oh, she'll be my wife and she'll be your sister. And both of them started fighting. And because they both were very, very powerful, because of this one lady, they forgot all their brotherhood, all their friendship, all their intimate relation, and they were fighting, and they were fighting so very fiercely. They became so very tired, exhausted, and ultimately both of them together they hit each other and they died. So Narad Muni said, all of you have married Draupadi, so please be very, very careful. You have to make a rule. You should make a rule that for a particular period, Draupadi will be staying with one of the husbands, and none of the other husbands should interfere during that period. So so he said, Narad Muni said, she'll be serving only one husband at a time so that there is no conflict. There is complete harmony. So it was very interesting. All the Pandavas, they were emblem of virtue, but still Narad Muni said no. There could be a danger. Please make a policy. So therefore, whenever there are serious issues at stake, whenever there are some things to be divided, unspoken understanding does not work. This is very, very interesting to live peacefully in this world. Unspoken understanding will not work many times. There has to be a very, very clear policy. Conflict results when things are not clear. So, therefore, especially when things are to be divided, to be shared, there should be very crystal clear policy. Otherwise, there will be lots of conflicts. And that's how the conflicts arise even between brothers, even between close relatives, because there are no crystal clear policies of how we will be sharing things. So Pandavas they made a policy and they decided that only one brother will be staying with Draupadi for a particular amount of time and nobody should enter that place. And if somebody enters while Draupadi is with other brother, he will have to go for exile for 1 year. And everybody agreed. One day, there was a Brahmana who came and he was begging, he was pleading to Arjun that, oh, Arjuna, my cow has been stolen. My sacrificial sticks are stolen. Please do something. So Arjuna is a very great Rajarshi. He's a protector, and king should be the protector of the Brahmanas and the cows. So he immediately was ready, but then he realized that Yudhishthira and Draupadi they were staying in the room where he had kept his weapons. So he decided and he entered that place. He explained the whole situation to Yudhishthir Maharaj, and Yudhishthir also very happily he gave permission. Arjuna he took his weapons and went and defeated and captured these thieves, brought back the cows, and then Arjuna he went to Yudhishthir Maharaj. He said, "Oh brother, I have violated our policy, so now please give me permission to go for exile for 1 year." And Yudhishthira was shocked. He said, no, this is not required. You didn't come on your own, it was urgency. And because you are my younger brother, elder brother is like a father. And father does not feel bad when son comes, when the father is with the mother. So you don't have to go to the forest, you just be here. Arjuna said, no. This was decided, and he was firm, and he went to the forest for 1 year. And in that 1 year, there were lots of adventures which Arjuna went through, and we'll be discussing that when we'll discuss about Arjuna. So that was the extreme conviction and determination of Pandavas. They were ready to follow the principles. Yudhishthir Maharaj, apart from being a virtuous soul, a dharmic soul, he was a great devotee of Supreme Lord Krishna. And any king, if he's a devotee, his one of the prime motive is to glorify the Supreme Lord. So Yudhishthir Maharaj, he wanted to glorify Krishna as a supreme. So he started thinking how to glorify Krishna as a supreme Lord. So he decided to do Rajasuya Yagya. So Rajasuya Yagya is a sacrifice in which the supreme person is offered oblations. But this to perform Rajasuya sacrifice is not easy. For the Rajasuya sacrifice to happen, the king has to defeat all the kings all over the world. But Yudhishthir, he was so very determined to glorify Krishna as a supreme person. He decided to do this Rajasuya Yagya. There were many powerful kings at that time, and Yudhishthir had to defeat all of them. But none of these kings were as powerful as Pandavas. So it was not a big thing for Pandavas. But there was one major threat, that was Jarasandh. Jarasandh, although he was defeated by Krishna 17 times, but still he was very, very powerful. He managed to amass great armies. And Krishna, so with this, while thinking all this, he sent a messenger to Dwarka. How to perform Agra Puja. So when this messenger reached Dwarka, there was another messenger who had come. This messenger was from the kings who were imprisoned by Jarasandh. Jarasandh, he was a very, very powerful king, and he had defeated and captured many, many kings. Thousands of kings were captured by Jarasandh, and he was about to do a Narbali, that means a sacrifice of humans, to Kal Bhairav, because he wanted to become more and more powerful. So these kings, they sent their representative to plead with Krishna, oh Krishna, please help us, please release us from this miserable condition. So this messenger had come, and at the same time, the messenger which was sent by Pandavas, he had also come. Uddhava, he said. So Krishna, he would always consult Uddhav. Uddhava, he said, I think we can kill two birds with one arrow. If we conquer Jarasandh, then we can release all these kings and we can do the Rajasuya Yagya also. So that was a very wonderful idea which Uddhava gave, and everybody agreed. When Krishna, he told his plan to Yudhishthir Maharaj, he was not so happy because he was thinking, actually the plan of Krishna was, Krishna told that, look, I will go in disguise of a Brahmana along with Bhima and Arjun. And Bhima, he will ask charity of fighting with Jarasandh. And Jarasandh, although he was a demon, but still he was a worshipper of Brahmanas. That is an interesting thing. And he will not be able to refuse, and Bhima will kill Jarasandh. Yudhishthir Maharaj, he was feeling apprehensive. He was thinking, why should I risk Krishna, Bhima, and Arjuna for doing Rajasuya? He said, no, I don't want to do Rajasuya Yagya. But ultimately, Krishna convinced Yudhishthir Maharaj. Actually, there is one more reason why Yudhishthir Maharaj wanted to do this Rajasuya Yagya. One of the reason was because he wanted to glorify Krishna. There was another reason. One time, Narad Muni came and told Yudhishthir that, oh Yudhishthir, there are many, many great assemblies which are there in the universe. And he started telling about the various assembly halls. He described about the assembly hall of Indra, assembly hall of Varuna, assembly hall of Agni Dev, and then he described the assembly hall of Yamraj. And he said, in that assembly hall, your father Pandu is staying. So when Yudhishthir Maharaj he heard about his father, he became very excited. He said, "Oh Narad Muni, please tell me more about my father. How is he? Is he doing all well? Is there anything which I can do for you? Did he give some message for us?" So Narad Muni told, "When I went there, Pandu, he was happily staying, but he gave a message. He said, please tell my son Yudhishthir to do this Rajasuya Yagya. Because if he does this Rajasuya Yagya, I'll be promoted to heaven." He was staying in Yamaloka. He was an associate of Yamraj, but still the heavenly pleasure is much more greater. So all the Pandu was a very, very virtuous king, very dharmic king. But because at the last moment of his life, he was thinking about the union with wife Madri. So therefore his thoughts were not so pure, he could not get the highest destination of heaven in this world, seemingly highest. Therefore it is very, very important. We have to be careful of what type of thoughts we are cultivating throughout our life. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yam Yam Vapi Smaran Bhavam Tyajyatyante Kalevaram Tam Tamaevaiti Kaunteya Sada Tad Bhava Bhavitah. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, whatever a person thinks at the time of death, he attains that form without fail. So it is very, very important that we should be aware of what type of thoughts we are cultivating, because the thoughts which we have in our whole life, that will influence our thoughts at the time of death. Just like this Pandu Maharaj, although he lived a very dharmic life, but still this shows the grave nature of the thoughts. He lived a dharmic life, but still he got implicated because the last thoughts were not so pure. But still he got such a high destination and he wanted to go higher. So therefore the scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam describes again and again, if we try to purify our mind by the process of devotional service, that is a supreme insurance policy which we can get. The policies of this world will not help us after this life. जिंदगी के साथ भी जिंदगी के बाद भी, but जिंदगी के बाद all these policies will not help. Only one policy will help. That is Krishna consciousness. Because Krishna gives the guarantee. Name bhakta pranashyati, my devotee will never get destroyed, O Arjun. I protect my devotee. I provide whatever my devotee lacks. So this is how we have to be eager to cultivate spiritual consciousness by practicing devotional service, by the principles of chanting every day with lots of attentiveness, reading Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, molding our life in such a way that our last thoughts are spiritual. So we'll stop here. We'll continue next time. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Yudhishthir Maharaj is, as far as following principles and, the way he led his life, are very, very exemplary. So just a thought, how do we understand Yudhishthir Maharaj's humility? We understand that devotee is naturally humble, but how do I understand the humility of Yudhishthir Maharaj when he's lying, or when he is saying that because this thought has come into my mind, so this will be uh, pure.
Yeah.
So how do we understand that?
Yes, yes, yes. So actually, I'll be discussing this in the next class also about, when Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that I am the Lord of the entire world, entire universe, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo Matta Sarvam Pravartate. Many people they blame Krishna to be arrogant. What type of God he is? He is so very arrogant. He is talking about himself so much, calling himself to be God. But actually, that is not arrogance. That is a genuine, very little explanation which Krishna is giving about himself. That is humility. He could have spoken much more. It is like if somebody asks our introduction, and if we tell, okay, I am so and so, I am I'm having this qualification, I work here, and if somebody says, just see how egoistic, how arrogant he is, you will say, this is my very little bit of qualification. I am much more than this. So Yudhishthir Maharaj, when he is talking about these things, he is not boasting about himself. He is just telling the fact, and that too is not proclaiming to the whole world. He's just telling the fact that now, because I am thinking like this, for sure, you know, this must be true because he has lived his whole life in a dharmic way. So it is natural for a person of the caliber of Yudhishthir Maharaj to come to this conclusion because that is a confidence which Krishna gives to his devotees. If we are living our life in a sinless way, following the principles of devotion, for sure Krishna will give this confidence. And actually, Yudhishthira Maharaj's confidence is not arrogance, it was the firm faith in Krishna. When a devotee tells that I am able to do this, I can do this service, that is not arrogance. That is the faith a devotee has in Krishna's qualities of protection. Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Name Bhakta Pranashyati. I provide what my devotee lacks. I, I protect what my devotee has. So therefore, Yudhishthir Maharaj, when he's speaking this statement of, nothing wrong can come in my mind, that is his confidence in Krishna's devotional service. He's so very firm in the process of spirituality, in the process of devotional service, that he knows for sure Krishna will protect my thoughts. Krishna will not allow any sinful thing to come in my mind. That is the confidence which a devotee should have in Krishna. That is called nishchay. That is called asha. That is called hope. A devotee has not in himself, not in his own qualities, not in his own qualities, but in Krishna's protection, in Krishna's power, Krishna's omnipotence. And that's how we can understand this statement of Yudhishthira Maharaj.
So Prabhuji, there is illusion and there is a person in complete enlightenment, like Yudhishthira Maharaj was. But sometimes people are under this illusion that I am a sinless person. So many times I've heard this statement, people saying, "I've never sinned in my life."
That
So,
is, yeah,
so
that is not, that is the illusion which people have. That is how material energy works.
So that's what, how do we differentiate, Prabhuji? How do we who are sadhakas, who have not reached that stage and maybe have understood that we sin, but sometimes, that because we are in Krishna consciousness, we feel, oh, this is, maybe I'm doing it right.
Yes. So therefore, we are very safe, because see, anyways, Yudhishthira Maharaj is such a great Mahajan, such a great personality. He can make this statement. But most of us, we are struggling, spiritualists, devotees, trying to follow the principles. And if anything comes in our mind and we are confused whether it is right or wrong, just go and ask some superior person, and we have ample of them, right? Nobody can say, अरे मेरे से senior तो कोई दिख ही नहीं रहा यहाँ पे, there is nobody senior than me here, there is nobody more qualified than me here. So if we are thinking I'm right, then better just clarify your thoughts, with some superior personality. And if a materialist, a person who is non-devotee, not practicing spiritual life, he is making such statement, we should understand that statement is coming from a egoistic heart. Because a materialistic person, he does not believe in the power of Krishna. He believes in his own power. And therefore, such statements are spoken by people of the world that I am always right. As Bhagavad Gita describes, Krishna says in the 16th chapter, a person who is not having a divine mentality, what does he think? He thinks, oh, I am the controller, and I will do some spiritual activities, I'll do some sacrifices, but for what? I am doing it for my own glorification. I'll be known as a dharmic person, you know. So generally a devotee does not want to boast about himself, but when it is needed, he uses that influence to serve Krishna, Just like the story of Madhavendra Puri comes, that this great saint, you know, for him, Krishna stole the sweet rice. It is another, huge story, wonderful story. But when villagers came to know that, oh, this personality is so very great that Krishna has stolen a sweet rice for him, he started becoming fearful that, oh, now people will come and they'll glorify me. So he immediately left that place. But when he reached Jagannath Puri, there he used that influence to get Chandan. So therefore, devotee is not so much interested in boasting about himself. He'll never tell I am so great. But when need is there to glorify Krishna, to serve Krishna, he'll use that influence to serve Krishna. So therefore, as devotees, whenever we have any confusion, better go and ask some superior personality, some senior devotees or some saintly people, and we'll get answers. There is no dearth of saintly people and senior devotees. So that is how we have to always have a check and balance. Are we going ahead in the Krishna consciousness? Are we going on the right path? Or am I getting distracted? Because in this world, the material energy works very subtly. She will just tell that just do this one thing less. Nothing will happen. It is like airplane when it takes off, it has to follow a particular trajectory. If the airplane deviates even 1 degree, it will land up in a completely different place. Similarly, if we are not careful of our trajectory of spiritual life, of Krishna consciousness, and if we start deviating even little, not taking guidance from the authorities, then we will land up in a completely different place. Aircraft is always connected to the air traffic control, and they always keep telling, now you are going right, now you please take the left or take little bit of this 5 degrees of turn or whatever. Similarly, we have to always be in line, connected with the superiors, always taking guidance. Am I going right? Is there anything I can do to improve myself? Many times we fear asking because we know, if I'll ask this personality, he'll give me 10 things what I'm doing wrong. No, no, I'll not go to this person. I will go to somebody who will glorify me. You know. So that is what we have to be careful of. Just be in touch with some superior devotees, seniors who can guide us. Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. There's a question in connection to
Yes.
that, which Priya is asking. She's
Okay.
saying,
So
does
that's
humility
humility.
come naturally, or we can develop or cultivate it?
Yeah, very wonderful thing. It is both way. It works both ways. You know. So with whatever humility we have at our disposal, we have to start working with that. And then when Krishna sees that this person is really eager, really sincere, wants to become humble, then Krishna will give that humility. He'll award us with that humility. So it works both ways. Mercy of the Lord and our endeavor. Both are important. We have to, first of all, even if we don't like to become humble, we have to start becoming humble, although we don't like. Fake it till you make it, as they say. But we have to really genuinely desire to become humble. If you're not desiring, if you're just making a show of humility, thinking that, oh, I don't want to become humble, I know I am great, I know I am better than this person, but still, because in devotee circle we have to show as being humble, that will not help us in the long run. Because Krishna, he knows the heart of everybody. He's bhavagrahi. So when he sees, oh, this person does not want to become humble, he's just making a show of humility. He will not give us genuine humility. So we have to first start working with whatever uh, humility we have at our disposition, at our disposal, and then Krishna will award more and more. You know, so that is what happens. Both should be done. Our endeavor and mercy should be there. Mercy of the Lord comes automatically because Krishna is not such a cruel God. Nani, I'll not give him mercy or her mercy. He is ready to give mercy. One time there was a small Gurukul boy and he asked Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was with Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. Tamal Krishna Maharaj was very powerful personality. He was like a right hand man of Prabhupada. Whenever Prabhupada would need something, he wanted to do something, he would call Tamal Krishna Maharaj and he would do it. Very powerful personality. So one time a small boy asked, Prabhupada, why are you showing so much mercy to Tamal? Prabhupada said, my mercy is for everyone. He has taken advantage of it. So mercy of the Lord is there for every one of us. We have to be there at the right time, at the right place. For example, if in the temple there is a feast on some festival day, and if somebody is sitting at home thinking that, I'm not getting feast, so he has to do the endeavor of going to temple, stand in the line and take a plate, and then he will get the feast. So similarly, we have to do the endeavor to come in touch with the process of devotional service, chant attentively, take shelter of devotees, and then Krishna will see, okay, this person is really struggling to become humble. Many times we may speak some harsh words, we may speak something out of our pride, but then we should repent for it. Repentance is what attracts Krishna. You know, we should not say, "Oh, I am like that only. What can be done?" Yes, I'm like this. How can one differentiate between low self-esteem and humility? Yes, humility means false ego rejected, and inferiority complex or low self-esteem means false ego frustrated. This is one line definition difference between low self-esteem and humility. What does it mean? Humility means we understand that Krishna is great and I am very insignificant in front of Krishna. And inferiority complex or low self-esteem means I am not able to do this. I is more prominent. In that situation, the person does not recognize the supremacy of Krishna. He is thinking, I want to do it, but I am not able to do it. I am so very, you know, insignificant. I wanted to become great, but I'm not able to become great. So the I-ness is more in picture when there is low self-esteem. Humility, in humility, Krishna's supremacy is more in the picture. That is the difference between low self-esteem and humility. Okay. Are there any other questions?
Prabhuji, I had one more thought, like one more question, kind of a thing. So I was, you mentioned about about thoughts. So, and you said how we have to keep a watch on our thoughts.
Yes.
That is something which is very difficult. Like, the thoughts go everywhere. So how do we keep a watch on our thoughts?
See, thoughts are natural. Thoughts will come in the mind, but what we do after the thoughts come, that is important. Are we contemplating on the thoughts, or are we neglecting those thoughts? That means if the wrong thoughts come. So, what we do after those thoughts are coming in the mind, because thoughts are natural, they will come. Unlimited thoughts and number of thoughts, they keep coming every second. That is not a problem. Thinking is not a problem. Thoughts coming in the mind is not a problem. What we do with those thoughts, that is important. Because Bhagavad Gita very clearly describes dhyato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu pajayate. When we start contemplating on those thoughts, what happens? We develop a desire, we develop a hankering for those things. So, therefore, it is natural that we may get some sinful thoughts, some wrong thoughts. But if we start contemplating on those thoughts, then we get sucked in. So, it is our daily struggle. That is our, practice. We have to immediately catch our mind before the mind catches us. You know, that is the first thing we have to do. We have to look at the mind before looking with the mind, because many times mind keeps on throwing so many thoughts. First we have to be a passive observer. Okay, these are the thoughts which are coming in my mind, these are not my thoughts. Okay, this thought I can accept, this thoughts I have to reject. And of course it is not so easy, it is a constant practice. Just like a sponge, if the sponge is completely soaked in water, then you cannot put anything else in that sponge, you cannot add something more. Just like, or a glass which is full of water, if you put anything else, it will come out, it will spill over. If our thoughts are already saturated with the thoughts of Krishna, if our mind is already saturated with the thoughts of Krishna, thoughts of spiritual life, thoughts of serving others, then even if some wrong thoughts come momentarily, it will not affect us. It will be easy for us to turn our mind towards positive thoughts. So that's why we begin our day with this chanting of Hare Krishna mantra. That is like filling our mind with this most powerful spiritual sound vibration. And that is like a immunity which we are taking every morning. And if we are sufficiently immune, if we have chanted properly, if we have meditated on Krishna properly, then even if the thoughts, some wrong thoughts come, they will not affect us. Bhagavad Gita very clearly describes this. The devotee, his mind is like an ocean. Even though rivers enter the ocean does not overflow, does not get disturbed. The mind of a devotee is so very full of the thoughts of Krishna, thoughts of serving devotees, that when the material desires, the sinful desires, they enter the mind like the river, the mind of a devotee does not get disturbed. Apuryamaणम् achala pratishtham samudramapah pravishanti yadvat tadvad kamayam pravishanti sarve sashanti mapnoti na kama kami. It's very interestingly, second chapter Bhagavad Gita, 71st verse describes this. The devotee, his heart is like an ocean. Bhakti rasa sindhu, amrit sindhu. It's the ocean of nectar. So when heart is full of nectar of Krishna's pastimes, then all these thoughts, they may come, they will not disturb us. Of course, it is not so easy. It is easier said than done. But it's a practice we have to do every day in the morning when we chant, when we sit to chant our rounds. What are the quality of our rounds? How we are desperately taking shelter of Krishna. That will decide our whole day's thought process. So that's how we have to understand. Otherwise, there is no other way to control those thoughts. Only we have to replace the thoughts, replace the negative thoughts with the positive thoughts. As Prabhupada would say, we cannot become void, we cannot stop thinking. Thoughts will come. Better put the positive thoughts in the mind. And then, even if the negative thoughts come, will not get disturbed. Just like Yamunacharya, a great saint, he says he was a king and then he left everything. He became a great renunciant, great acharya. He says, whenever the thoughts of association with women come in my mind, because he was a king, he had many wives, he was enjoying with them. So thoughts will come. Yamunacharya is saying, whenever I remember when the thoughts of an association with women come in my mind, my lips curl in distaste and I spit at the thought. You know. So that is the difference between a elevated personality and a struggling devotee. Many times we start contemplating on those thoughts. But there is a process and it'll take time. We have to be patient. You know. We are in the mode of in the uh, process of getting cured. So sometimes we may not like the medicine. We may feel it is so very disturbing. I am not able to do my whatever I liked. But that is the only way we can get cured. Okay.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Thank
Hare
you so
Krishna.
much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.